Hello all. Today I'm going to present our paper titled Exploring Tangible Algorithmic Imaginaries in Movie Recommendations. My name is Oscar Alvarado, and this talk is also on behalf of Vero and Abeele, David Geerts, Francisco Gutiérrez, and Katrien Verbert. We all research at Leuven University in Belgium. Recommender algorithms drive many of our daily activities and decisions. They filter the music we listen to, the restaurants we visit, and the news we consume. Unfortunately, research has found that these systems tend to produce negative experiences for the users, including lack of transparency, control, awareness, and an extensive list of ethical issues associated with these systems. Consequently, scholars have also developed an extensive corpus of solutions. Nevertheless, to the best of our knowledge, these solutions have been limited to traditional graphical user interfaces. Since previous academics have highlighted how the material instantiation of algorithms critically shapes their effects and our experiences with them, we consider that an opportunity opens for tangible user interfaces and create new experiences with these systems. But before starting to design tangible alternatives, it may be necessary to explore whether users possess tangible representations of their interactions with algorithms that could inform an initial design space. This kind of exploration requires a phenomenological strategy to include users' different experiences, affects, and perceptions with algorithmic systems. We consider a more useful conceptualization for this purpose what Bucher describes as algorithmic imaginaries, the way in which people imagine, perceive, and experience algorithms, and what these imaginations make possible. Therefore, defining our scope for algorithmic movie recommendations in Netflix, we decided to explore 1. What are algorithmic imaginaries that users hold of movie recommender systems? And 2. In what ways designs inspired by tangible representations of those algorithmic imaginaries influence a better experience with recommender algorithms through tangible user interfaces? We decided to achieve these goals following a twofold strategy. First, we organized Codesign workshops to explore how users produce tangible representations of algorithmic imaginaries. Second, we conducted follow-up interviews to evaluate all of these previous designs and collect further impressions. We recruited 15 active Netflix users via word of mouth, mailing lists, Facebook groups, and WhatsApp groups related to our university to apply these methods. All participants expressed using Netflix at least once every month, were between 24 and 40 years old, and 6 of them had a technical background in computer sciences or similar fields. Due to their agenda availability, only 10 of these participants were able to participate in the interviews. Our paper describes in more detail our participants. We held 5 different co-design workshops to actively engage our participants in materializing their imaginaries and experiences with the movie recommendation system. Each workshop lasted 60 minutes and was divided into 2 main parts. First, a sensitizing activity that ensured and leveled our participants' awareness about the recommendation system in Netflix. Second, our participants performed a design task. They received various materials to creatively materialize an answer to the question, how does Netflix see you? We agreed on a design constraint with the participants. Every answer had to be a tangible creation. In the end, all participants explained their creations orally. When needed, open questions clarified design intentions. We also conducted 10 individual follow-up interviews between 1 to 3 weeks after the workshops. Each one started presenting all the 15 creations produced during the previous workshops and describing them to the participants. Afterward, we asked open questions to gather impressions of the designs and more profound insights about algorithmic imaginaries using all the creations as an input. Each interview lasted around 30 minutes. These workshop discussions and 10 interviews were audio recorded for further thematic analysis, giving equal weights to workshops and interviews. The thematic analysis produced 3 main themes of tangible algorithmic imaginaries of movie recommendations. First, metaphoric versus datafied representations. Second, contextual factors. And third, negative algorithmic imaginaries. Due to time constraints in this presentation, we will present only the first theme that addresses two main design strategies applied by our participants to materialize their algorithmic imaginaries into tangible designs. The first design strategy is metaphoric representations. These representations reflect an algorithmic imaginary where characters and objects act as metaphors, representing a complex algorithmic profiling process through a self-reflection of the recommendation results. For example, participant 7 created a clown with a lightsaber, a figure that combines representative characteristics of the comedies and sci-fi movies he usually watches. Other examples presented objects related to the movie watching context instead of humanoid forms, as presented by participant 9 in D9. Here, you see a castle TV because he regularly watches medieval knights or castle-related shows. These imaginaries confirm how users portray and describe a calculated personality due to the interaction with the recommender algorithm. This calculated personality is often represented using humanoid forms or significant objects related to the movie watching context. Users also support these representations by iconic props commonly known in movies, such as lightsabers for sci-fi movies. The second strategy is called Datafied representations. These representations reflect a granular data-guided strategy using graphs or structured forms, ordered layers, and hierarchies to materialize the system's data. Design B5 shows the profile of participant 5 using blocks piling up on each other. He explained that it starts with red blocks representing Netflix original content. A second layer adds outside black content. For him, the combination of both layers brings a third dark red colored layer, showing how the system mixes the user preferences. Another example is participant 6B6 with two different moments. Diverse blocks representing participant 6 movie preferences on the right side, and Netflix structured way to transform her tastes on the left side. As participant 6 explained, the door in the middle expresses how Netflix tries to transform her movie tastes into the left side. The calculated personality in this group is represented mostly by abstract forms related to data structures and the recommender system's inner work. This representation strategy prefers a more technical approach, supported by bars, blocks of colors, layers, graphs, and similar forms of data representations. We consider that these results offer design opportunities and suggestions to envision tangible user interfaces as an alternative to interact with algorithmic systems, such as movie recommendations. Without pretending to delimit the entire design space, we describe some initial ideas. First, metaphoric representations could serve as an inspiration to design tangible user interfaces in various forms. Their main goal would be to follow how users portray themselves in algorithmic systems. For example, metaphoric representations could inspire shape-changing interfaces that transform themselves into the current state of the user profile. Designers could also allow users to perform actions to the interface, such as changing clothes or colors to alter current movie recommendations. However, we agree with our participants that designs inspired by metaphoric representations could only offer a superficial level of transparency and control over the algorithmic system, failing to scale. As the understanding of algorithmic grows, users can find these representations very limited, creating additional questions about the recommender system rather than providing answers because of their inherent overgeneralization of such a complicated process. We believe Datafied representations can overcome this limitation, providing a more granular understanding and control of algorithmic recommendations. In this case, the main goal of design opportunities inspired by Datafied representations is to show the recommender system's implementation model as closely as possible, offering detailed descriptions of data and allowing users to manage their profile with enough granularity and precision. While Datafied representations are primarily imagined for graphical user interfaces, our study shows how users also envision tangible forms of these representations, proving that tangible interfaces are still welcome for this design strategy, allowing people to touch the data and bringing novel opportunities to make sense of its gathering processing, and implications. For instance, designers could propose tangible interfaces that show how much of each movie genre the system is currently considering for the recommendations. To add control functions, the user could perform manual actions on the interface to reduce or increase genres or other categories, allowing users to alter the recommendations for their current needs. In our paper, we also present a set of design suggestions based on our findings to further develop tangible interfaces in this context. Due to the time constraints, we cannot dig too much into them, but please check them in detail in our paper. Thank you very much for watching. Part of this research has been supported by the Q Leuven Research Council and the University of Costa Rica. Please do not hesitate in contacting us for further information about this research. See you soon.